Today, I'm going to walk you through how I might think about doing some revisions on my personal narrative. So I went ahead and I typed my draft so that it would be easier to share with you guys. And if you take a look, this is a story about me learning how to ride my bike. And I went ahead and marked some places in my text in yellow where I felt like I should try to infuse a little bit of my voice in it and put a little more of my personality. So there was one part that I felt like I did a good job already with putting my voice in it, and so I went ahead and marked it here with "Boy, had I tried, my knees and elbows were proof of that." I felt like that was a place where my unique way of saying things came through, so I went ahead and marked that as yellow. But then I noticed up here that when I said it was really embarrassing, that's kind of a boring and a flat sentence, and I feel like I could do something a little bit different or better with that. So I highlighted that piece yellow, and I think I might revise it by doing something like, maybe if I put it in the comments, it would be easier for you to say. I might revise it. Let's try this. By saying something more like, it was so embarrassing that sometimes I wished bikes had never been invented. And so I'm going to go ahead, since I typed mine, and I would do my revision on the side here like that. And then when I go back after this process, I'll change it. If you did yours by hand, what you could do is you could write your revision on a Post-it. You could, since you have the double spaces between the line, like just put a little caret at the top of it and then rewrite what you want it to look like at the top. So I'm going to go through and I'll go back through and look through my writing and look for some other places where I felt like my writing was maybe a little bit flat and didn't really like show my personality. So I'll go back through and I'll add those details. The other thing I went through and I looked for is places where it would make sense to add sensory details. And remember, sensory details appeal to our five senses, like seeing, hearing, what things felt like, what things smelled like. And so I thought a good place that I could add some sensory details is, since I had this great big build-up about like learning how to ride a bike, it makes sense to me that I would include some sensory details about maybe what it was like when I was finally able to ride a bike or when I finally had accomplished that. So I'm thinking about what it might feel like and try to remember here, the first time you take off on a bike. And so maybe I might revise that to look something like this. I'll keep the beginning. I wobbled a bit at first, but before I knew it, the wind was whooshing in my ears, and I was riding. I might go back and revise that. So today what we're going to ask you to do is, during your writing time, and it'll be on the next slide just kind of as a reminder, go back through your draft. Look at the places that you marked where you felt like you needed to show your voice or where you thought that it made sense to add some sensory details, and go ahead and start experimenting and playing with different ways that you could do that. I think if you're not 100% sure what you want it to be like just yet, one way that you might experiment with it is just using, especially if you hand wrote yours, using some sticky notes and trying out different ways on the sticky notes and seeing how that sounds before you commit to anything. And if you typed yours, you could certainly go back and add like the revisions in the comments and try a couple of ways. And then maybe when you get with your partner later today or this week, you could share with them some options and talk with your partner about which option or which revision sounds the best.